So my journey really started in the middle of last year. Back in May, at the end of May, I was in the hospital for a week and a half, including time in the ICU for a brain infection that impacted many different systems in my body. When I got out of the hospital, Byung Kim, who was a childhood friend of mine, gave me a call and asked if his pastor could have a Zoom call with me and just to help me just pray for my recovery as I got out of the hospital. Then maybe a week or two later, Byung contacted me again and said, the pastor would like to talk to you again. And so at that point I was like, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to get a hardcore recruiting process, but it was actually my wife who commented that maybe I could use a little faith in my life. And so I met the pastor. So I started with praying. He sent me Bible verses and some breath prayers that I could use in my prayers. I just prayed, pray to God and asked him earnestly, hey, I'm trying to believe. I'd like to learn more about this faith. Can you please help me in this journey? When I read through the Bible, it was as if for the first time my eyes were lifted, and so I could finally understand for the first time what the faith was about. The last half of last year, I would find myself being healed with a lot of peace that I think I'd been looking for in my life. I then came to Christ with the help of Byung and Pastor David. And then over the coming months, I would introduce Christianity to my children, as well as to my wife, who is a former Buddhist. I mean, really what I'd like to say is to thank the Lord for coming to find me, for leaving the 99 to look for the one. So there were two verses that Pastor David had texted to me that I would use as breath prayers. And one is, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And the other one was, when I am afraid, I will trust in you. And I would say I'd repeated those verses hundreds of times probably over the last 6 to 8 months. In times of stress or worry, I realized that I can find my peace and strength by anchoring myself through to Jesus. So of course I am very grateful to Pastor David of Garden Church and to Byung Kim for the time that they spent with me, the countless hours over the last half of last year. I'd also like to thank my wife and my children for walking the journey with me. I also like to thank my brother Stan and his wife June. My sister-in-law, my brother's wife June, is extremely devout and had been praying for my family for many years. In life, you see all these things that you think are coincidences that occur, but when so many of these coincidences start stacking up one over another, then you can only really attribute to some miracle or the miracle of God, and that's my story.